Hi, and thanks for logging on to the Daily DVAR Halacha. And here's a brand new halacha for you, and it's for Tuesday, 17th day of October, 27th of Tishrei. Here we go. Today we're going to start a new unit and discussing the laws of being somech geula letfila. Okay, I know that sounds really Hebrew, but what it really means in short is that there's a pretty important concept called attaching the bracha of Go'al Yisroel, attaching it directly to the Shmonei Esrai that follows. You know, in Shacharis we say the bracha to Hashem Go'al Yisroel, and the very next thing on the agenda is Shmonei Esrai. Well, those two things are supposed to be very closely locked together. So says the Gemara in Brachos on Daf Tes on page 9. One allusion to this in Tehillim is where David HaMelech himself, King David, says, Hashem tzuri v'go'ali, mentioning the word geula, and soon afterwards, right there, it says, Yancha Hashem biyom tzara, Hashem answers us in our time of need, you could sort of loosely translate, which means he answers us when we daven to him. And that is one of the places where we learn this concept about how our mentioning of please redeem us should be mentioned right together with our Shmonei Esrai. Hence, the very strong concept called always attaching your Go'al Yisroel bracha to your Shmonei Esrai. A great parable to think of it, to kind of understand, like, who cares? Like, what's the big deal? One of the ways to understand why it's a big deal is the parable given by a lot of the rabbis is like, imagine you came to the king's door and you knocked at the king's door, and it took a moment for the king to come to the door, and you got sort of like, let's say, just say bored, and you couldn't wait for the king, and by the time the king came to the door to speak with you, you were gone. King goes back into his chamber and says, that was weird. He said he wanted my help, and then he wasn't even there when I came to the door. It would be the same thing if we mentioned Geula and said, God, please redeem us. And then he says, okay, I'm here. I'm ready to, what is it that you need? And your Shmonei Esrei happens a while later. That's like you knocked at the door, but you weren't there when God was ready for you. So, therefore, the concept of Geula, Go'al Yisroel being attached to Shmonei Esrei, is very strong. We don't mention it at all for Mincha because there is no Go'al Yisroel bracha at Mincha, but it is strong also for Marav. Strongest, most important point is Shacharis, and then it is also a powerful concept at Marav in whatever way possible. Of course, Go'al Yisroel and Shmonei Esrei are very closely attached to each other at the time of Shacharis, and they're not so tightly attached at the time of Marav, so in that way they're a little bit different. But most powerful moment for it is not just at Shacharis, but also at sunrise. So if you're at sunrise davening at a minyan such that, you know, Shmonei Esrei comes out just as the sun is coming up, and that's when your Shmonei Esrei is, and you finish your Shema and its bracha of Go'al Yisroel right after it, the second that the sun is coming up, that is the most powerful moment to have Go'al Yisroel attached to Shmonei Esrei. And then at Marav, no such powerful thing is happening, but we try to apply the concept at Marav too. Just before we end for today, and we'll continue the concept and how it ties into Marav maybe tomorrow, but please note that somebody might look at this and say, well, I think I see a problem because there's the bracha of Go'al Yisroel and there's the Shmonei Esrei, and in between we say the sentence of Hashem sefasai tiftach, Hashem, please open my lips and my mouth will tell your praise. Well, boom, then you kind of blew it right there because you made a pause right there between the bracha of Go'al Yisroel and Shmonei Esrei. Well, that question, although it might sound like a good question, is no problem at all because the sentence of Hashem sefasai tiftach is considered part and parcel of the Shmonei Esrei. That's how you begin your Shmonei Esrei, by saying, God, please help me speak. So that's part of your Shmonei Esrei, and therefore it's fantastic to just say Go'al Yisroel, Hashem sefasai tiftach, just like that closely attached without even having a second or two pause between them. I just personally once witnessed at a Sephardi minyan where the Chazan was saying the words Baruch Atah Hashem Go'al Yisroel, and he said Baruch Atah Hashem Go'al Yisroel Hashem. In other words, out loud, he even said the beginning of the word of the Shmonei Esrei. That's how attached the two of them were. So more to follow on this topic over the next couple of days. Thanks for logging on. Log on again tomorrow for more. Bye-bye.